Hi, we are book crunchers, and in this video, we will be doing a long summary of the book Inside the Criminal Mind by Dr. Stanton E. Samanow. We'll be doing chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this video. Number 1. The failure to identify causes of crime. How does a criminal make decisions? What are his expectations of himself and of other people? How is it that he can pray in a church at 10 but 2 hours later terrorize a community of people? Behavior is a product of thinking. By focusing on thinking patterns rather than causes, the foundation for a method to help offenders change their thinking and behavior was laid. The thinking about causes of crime, satirized in the 1950s and 1960s, remains alive and well today. Every day, new headlines appear in journals or pop up in the media pointing to yet another alleged cause of criminality. Slave syndrome argued in boys' death, violent games causes violence, soda linked to behavioral problems in young children, candy causes adult violence, and violent crime and cholesterol. Although innumerable aspects of the environment have been identified as causing people to behave in a criminal manner, one that continues to command public attention is the alleged connection between exposure to violence in entertainment and violent conduct. This linkage is not new. 40 years ago, in his book Seduction of the Innocent, Frederick Wertham characterized comic books as primers for crime. Violent films, violent television programs, and violent video games all have been associated with violent behavior. Millions of people watch violence in films and on television programs. For more than 50 years, moviegoers have flocked to James Bond films that are saturated with violence. Millions of children and adults play violent video games. Responsible people are not transformed into killers because of what they watch or play for entertainment. Number 2. Parents don't turn children into criminals. The child rejects the parents. Psychologists and mental health professionals have blamed parents for almost all their child's problems. It seems to be taken for granted that if you have a delinquent child, there must be something wrong with the parents. Parents of juvenile delinquents are presumed to have any or all of the following deficiencies. They communicate poorly. They fail to provide nurturance and support. They do not institute appropriate discipline. They do not monitor their child sufficiently. They are abusive. One frequent problem that arises when making assessments of the family is that juvenile offenders frequently lie, thereby avoiding punishment. Their parents become a convenient target. Compassionate mental health professionals who do not know how offenders think and who are unfamiliar with their tactics are quick to buy into what these kids tell them. Dr. Samanow has interviewed juvenile and adult offenders who portray their parents as monsters, but their siblings portray an image that's completely different. In nearly every instance where this is the case, the offender who he is being evaluated has a sibling who grew up under the same circumstances but did not commit crimes. Delinquent children do their utmost to keep their parents in the dark. They respond angrily to questions raised by mothers and fathers who they claim are nosy and have no rights to pry into their business. Delinquent children deploy formidable tactics to gain the high ground as they are locked in battle with their parents. They regularly do things well-behaved kids do rarely. They get more physical than conversational. Delinquent children accuse their parents of expecting perfection and placing too much pressure on them. Claims that their mom and dad don't care about them, do not love them, and are ruining their lives are often effective in bringing out the guilt. Feeling guilty and exhausted, the parents hasten to reassure his offspring, then loosens up on disciplinary measures, and the misconduct, which is the main issue, is not addressed. Some exhausted mothers and fathers conclude that they have reached a point where they can do nothing to improve the situation and therefore severing the tie with their child. Number 3. Peer pressure, no excuse for crime. Criminals befriend one another for their own purposes. In radar-like fashion, they hone in on others who have similar interests. In urban and suburban areas, kids flock to organized activities. As they meet new people and discover new interests, they become involved in sports, religious groups, scouting, community service, and school clubs. A process of socialization occurs as these children learn about cooperation, competition, sharing, and self-control. Whilst the responsible child discovers opportunities for fun and personal growth, the delinquent child experiences restlessness and boredom. Some delinquents refuse to participate in any organized events. The delinquent child is drawn like a magnet to others who are daring and disobedient. He is attracted to kids who are risk takers, doing things that they are not supposed to do. To gain acceptance, he must prove himself by demonstrating that he can fit in, that he is tough and can be trusted. He dresses as they do, imitates them, and does what they ask him to do. In time, he is no longer considered a tag-along, but as one of them. The delinquent youngster will keep his friends away from his family because he knows his parents will not approve of them. Reputation is important. These offenders build and maintain a rep for themselves through the way they talk, their style of dress, and the types of activities in which they engage. Even as a small child, the delinquent accepts dares from others to convince them that he is not chicken. They play rough and take unfair advantage both in organized sports and their own sandlot games. They prove to one another that they are physically tough by deliberately sticking pins in their arms or burning themselves with cigarettes. No tears at any time. They show that they can take it, whatever the source of pain. A gang provides support, acceptance, and a structure, as well as a hierarchy of leadership and a path to approval and success. In a highly structured gang, a member can gain a sense of belonging, status, and power. In neighborhoods where no gangs operate, delinquent youths in search of action will travel significant distance to locate a gang. Becoming part of the organization is not like joining most clubs. The prospective member has to prove his worth through an initiation process such as getting jumped and engaging in combat with other gang members. Chapter 4. To Hell with School. School alienation has been cited by the American Psychological Association as a key factor in the development of both juvenile delinquency and school violence. The criminal is bored and alienated from school because his objectives have little relationship to academic learning. A high degree of illiteracy among criminals is often accredited to their suffering from a learning disability. The theory is as follows. Because the child is learning disabled, he fails, becomes frustrated and resentful, and down goes his self-esteem. Not receiving any positive attention, he compensates by seeking it in negative ways. Perhaps a small minority of delinquent children is truly learning disabled, but there's no correlation between learning disabilities and juvenile delinquency. The reason most delinquent youngsters are illiterate is that they refuse to learn to read, not because they have a learning disability. Think about what reading requires: attention, concentration, repetition, sticking with a task that may seem tedious or difficult. A child's job is to attend school. At any job, one has to do things one does not want to do. The criminal, as a child, takes shortcuts, blames others for his difficulties, lies about what he has done or failed to do, and expects others to suit his requirements rather than suit the requirements of others. His expectations of other people are unrealistic, and he becomes angry when those expectations are not met. Dropping out becomes a way of life, not just with school, but also with sports, religious schools, organized clubs and activities, music lessons, anything that requires sustained effort and doing things on others' terms. Doing well academically can camouflage criminality. A criminal is less likely to be a suspect if he has a reputation as a campus leader and an honor student. Dr. Saminow has interviewed people who were stunned when someone who had an outstanding reputation was arrested for a serious crime. For some criminals, the high academic achievement paves the way for similar success in careers where they rise to positions of great responsibility and power. Their success provides a front of respectability that helps them get away with a great deal.